Welcome everybody to Psycho's Platters. Hope everybody had themselves a great week. This is episode 79. I'm gonna two-parter. I'm gonna call this Psycho Trades. Ended up doing some trading a couple weeks back with a very good friend of mine, Doug Fields, of course, down here. Thought I'd show you at least part 1 of 2, along with a little bit of miscellaneous. Okay, I want to tell you guys something really quick. I was so close. I was so close this week. I had 99 subscribers. That close. And then somebody fell off. So now I'm back up down to 98. How hard is it to get 100? Honestly, people, is it really that hard? I don't know. It drives me insane. But like I said, I hope everybody had themselves a great week of crate digging. So right into it here. A couple Kiss albums I didn't have. I'm a big Kiss fan. I have been a big Kiss fan since about, I'd say, 1975, but I didn't have all of them, and there's still certain ones that I'm looking for. This one, I still say this is the worst album cover. Yeah, Asylum from 1985. I know you can't see the shiny sticker, the blurb here. It says contains the hit "Tears Are Falling." I don't know if you know what that one is, so here comes the bad imitation of the episode. Oh no, tears are falling. You know, in the video, I never said I could sing. Who wants to be lonely and all night? That was a Gene composition, if you couldn't figure that out. That's the front. This is the back. You know what, though? Here's the thing. Okay, a lot of people go off and they say, well, Kiss, wasn't good or as good as when, of course, Gene, Paul, Ace, and Peter were with the band. When it was the Fearful Four, and I'm just like, well, hold on a minute. I mean, that was the golden era, okay, but when they started changing and they took off the makeup, you know what? I mean, Kiss evolved. I mean, it still kind of sort of evolves, doesn't it? But I mean, with this particular set, of course, you got Gene and Paul, who've always been the mainstays, and then you had Bruce Kulick, who he's a damn good guitar player. He really is. He's with Grand Funk Railroad, and he does solo stuff. And the late Eric Carr, who, God, what a drummer! Honestly, what a drummer! He's a fantastic drummer. Um, what really still blows my mind with him was some of the drumming that he did on Creatures of the Night back in '82. Really good stuff. Um, but so this is Asylum from '85 with the oh boy, just I never liked that album cover. So then there's one that I got that I never had in my hands before. Kisses Hot in the Shade. Yeah, from '89. This one here happens to be an RCA Record Club issue. Okay, here's the front. Here's the back. Still has the shrink on it. This was the tour that I got to see Kiss's first tour. Okay, back in 1976, Kiss came to Chicago. I think it was the International Amphitheater, but I could be wrong on that. And I had a very cool aunt, and she was going to take me to see Kiss, and I went off, and I'm like, oh hell yeah. So I went and I told my mom, I said, hey, can I go, with Auntie to go see Kiss? And she's like, no, they're too satanic. Which then, as my almost 9-year-old mind went off and said, Ma, there's no such thing as too satanic. You either are or you're not. That ended up getting me in my room for the rest of the day. But this tour here, when they came to Alpine Valley, Wisconsin, in '90, they called it the greatest show on earth, and it was. Let me see if I can remember this. It was Faster Pussycat, Slaughter, Winger, and Kiss. God, what an afternoon! And the stage show was real kick-ass. At least I thought so at the time. With the Sphinx, they had the Sphinx, just like this. on the album cover, and it had lasers, I think, shooting out of it. God, it was so damn cool. So that was the first time I saw Kiss. I saw Kiss two more times in '98 and 2000 when they originally got back together. But some people, and I have a friend of mine up in Illinois who he, I don't know, for whatever reason, after Creatures, he won't listen. And I'm like, you know, I don't know why. That's just his mindset, I guess. Me, I mean, what was it? The last two albums, Sonic Boom and Monster, they weren't great, but they did have some good moments, like Hell or Hallelujah. I liked, what the heck was that other one? I'm sorry, guys. It's 5:30 in the morning, and I just woke up. So, but there's a few good ones off those new ones. So, just keep interested in this one. Next up, I love the Stones. Who doesn't really love the Stones? But this one, I had this in my original collection in the '80s, but I re-got it back. Metamorphosis off ABCO Records. Now, back in the time frame here of 1975 when this came out, this album always creeped me out. Sort of. It really did. And as you can see, it's got 6 Stones on here now. Why? Well, because Metamorphosis in '75 was a album of outtakes, was what this was. Alan Klein was the original manager. Well, excuse me, not the original manager of the Stones, but he was a manager of the Stones in the '60s. And this, I guess, ended up in the label. Now, that's the front, that's the back. With the ABCO inner sleeve and your ABCO label. The ones that I remember off of here, Out of Time. Okay, that one's kind of cool. I think somebody's going to go off and wanted to know. I can't remember which one it is. There's a song on here that I think accidentally does not credit Stevie Wonder because Stevie Wonder was involved. I can't remember which one it is. But yeah, off of here, remember Out of Time. I don't know why. Try a Little Harder. And of course, Memo from Turner, which was from, I think, that 1969, 1970 Mick Jagger film. All right. This one here, I have yet to find the original debut album in a 3D cover. I've never found one. I have Sufficiently Breathless, but now I have Captain Beyond's Dawn Explosion from 1977 on Warner. Your Burbank Palm Tree label. I was going on a web thread on Facebook yesterday. In fact, somebody brought up that they toured some bars in Chicago in 1977 to promote this album. Now, basically, if you don't remember Dawn Explosion, it came out about 4 years after Captain Beyond originally broke up. On this particular one, instead of Rod Evans, who used to sing in Deep Purple, being the lead singer, you've got a guy named Willie DeFern, which I've never heard of him. I can't wait to listen to this. I haven't heard it yet, but basically, you still have 3/4 of the original Captain Beyond. You've got Rhino and Lee Dorman from Iron Butterfly, all right, and Bobby Caldwell, who originally got started in Johnny Winter. Those three were original members of Captain Beyond. Which got their start on Capricorn. This is on Warner. So there's the front, there's the back. Can't wait to listen to that. Ronnie Dark, I have to tell you something. Once again, I always thank you because you always come up with great things to add to my want list. So this one here, I have to thank him, and I have to thank my friend Doug Fields, because when I told him, about all of these influences that have been on my now never-ending want list, Ronnie was playing a couple cuts from this band, this is, well, it's not exactly a new fan favorite for him. I'd say at least a year, maybe even more. I don't know, Ronnie, but I mean, as far as for the show, you've been playing this band. So when I told Doug about this, he's like, "Hey, wait a minute." He goes, "I saw that album at a thrift shop in the next town over." And I'm like, "Well, you know what? If you happen to be in that neighborhood, kindly get it for me. And if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Now I too have a copy of Damnation of Adam Blessing. I'm telling you, this, I know you can't see it really well. The cover's not great, guys. The seam split on the front, on the top. Here's the front. There's the back. These guys, if I remember correctly, are out of Ohio, Cleveland suburbs. I know you can't see here, but basically it is promo stamped. These guys, like I said, it'll do till I can find a better copy, but it's on United Artists. He cleaned it up for me because it was a little messy. Cookbook's still my favorite off of here. If you've never heard of Damnation of Adam Blessing, okay, I'm not kidding you. Go grab any of the 3 albums that came out from the 1969 to 1971 period. Let's see here. Sorry, now I'm going a little long-winded. I told you I can't, until December, I can't come up with any more than 15-minute videos. This one I thought was kind of goofy. I love Al Cooper, but he comes up with some of the goofiest albums. Championship Wrestling. Ooh, yeah, with Al Cooper. There's the front. Here's the back. Now, this one here, this one's on Columbia, 1980, it looks like. And your basic guests on this particular thing: Jeff Skunk Baxter from Steely Dan and Doobie Brothers, Mickey Thomas, of course, from Elvin Bishop and Jefferson Starship and Starship, Joe Vitale, who was pretty much hung around with Joe Walsh all these years, Valerie Carter. She started out in the 70s too, as well. Tower of Power horns on here. Just really seems like a neat little album. And of course, to wrap it all up, all produced by Bill Szymczyk. I hope I got that right. Who he's had himself involvement with the Eagles and a bunch, and the Who and a bunch of other bands. So that's kind of odd too. Lastly, I tripped on this band not too long ago. Well, actually, about 10 years ago, I tripped onto one of their albums, but I like Babe Ruth on Capitol Records. I don't quite know if you know who they are. The big one that came out of them in the 70s was Bernie Marsden. Bernie Marsden ended up going to a lot of bands. He's still performing to this day. He just got done doing a festival in England, but mainly the 80s people would remember him. Here's your Red Capitol from Whitesnake, because he was a original member of Whitesnake in the 70s anyway, the later 70s. All right, might as well do some shout outs. I think this might end up being a 3-part episode the way I'm planning. Oh, wait a minute. One last thing really quick. I grabbed for $1.50, could not pass this up, over a resale shop, the Osmond Brothers Through the Years. Yeah, that's right. Now, I can only show you a few pages, but like this is actually a really neat production of a book. Let me see here if I can get another one. Really nice stuff. And as an added bonus, it was signed by Jimmy. Yeah, that's right. So I couldn't pass that up for $1.50. I love the Osmonds, don't you? Shout outs really quick. Wax Museum with Ronnie Dark, of course. Fantastic episode with Carl Green, the original bass player of Herman's Hermits, last night. I like that. I hope he comes into our neighborhood. I'm even thinking about trying to get him down here to Northwest Arkansas to do a show, maybe at the Harley Joint or something. I could get him to perform. Night Owl Lounge with Mike Adams, Vintage Rock Magazine, and Shindig Magazine, Thrifty Music Collectors Group, and all kinds of other ones. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to work on the coffee. I am. We're going to do another episode. How about that? We're going to go back to back to back, so I'll tell you why at the end. Take care. God bless. Rock on. Sit tight. I'll be back in a few.